This video is brought to you by Poolonomics. When it comes to sanitizing a pool, at some point, you'll need to decide between using stabilized or unstabilized chlorine. In this video, we'll go over the key differences between them, why these differences matter, and which one you should use in your pool. Let's start from the top. Stabilized chlorine is made with stabilizer, also known as cyanuric acid. Cyanuric acid, or CYA, protects chlorine from the sun's UV rays, preventing it from breaking down too quickly, especially in outdoor pools exposed to direct sunlight. It works by binding to the chlorine molecules, forming a protective layer around them. This chlorine is primarily used as a residual sanitizer, meaning it's added to the pool frequently in order to maintain a stable chlorine level, but it's also occasionally used in shock treatments. There are two types of stabilized chlorine. The first is trichlor, the most popular type of stabilized chlorine for residential pools. Most chlorine tablets are trichlor, but it can also be found in granular or powder forms. The second is dichlor. This is more commonly found in granular or powder form and sometimes as tablets. It dissolves faster than trichlor, which makes it better suited as a shock treatment. Now let's talk about unstabilized chlorine. This type is not made with cyanuric acid. As a result, it doesn't offer any protection against UV light, and it degrades much faster when exposed to direct sunlight. Chlorine in solid or liquid form must be bound to a substance to make it easier to handle, so unstabilized chlorine is made with substances like calcium or sodium in place of cyanuric acid. Like stabilized chlorine, it can be used as both a residual sanitizer and a shock treatment. There are three main types of unstabilized chlorine. The first is calcium hypochlorite, or Cal-Hypo, which is fast dissolving and most commonly found as a granular shock treatment, but it's occasionally sold in tablet form too. The second is sodium hypochlorite, or liquid chlorine, which is pre-diluted and sold in jugs that are poured directly into the pool. It works well as both a residual sanitizer and shock treatment. Finally, there's lithium hypochlorite, or lithium hypo. This is a granular form of chlorine that's also relatively fast dissolving, but it isn't nearly as popular and can be quite hard to come by these days. Okay, now that you have a general overview of the two types, let's tackle the limitations of each one, starting with stabilized chlorine. If your pool is exposed to direct sunlight, you need cyanuric acid to stabilize and preserve your chlorine. Without CYA to shield your chlorine from UV, you can lose up to 90% of your free chlorine level within a few hours of topping up, making it financially and practically unsustainable. This is why stabilized chlorine is an attractive solution, because it combines chlorine and cyanuric acid into one convenient product. But here's where things get a little tricky. Chlorine gets used up over time, while cyanuric acid doesn't. It stays in the water and continues to accumulate every time you add more stabilized chlorine until it eventually locks up your chlorine. In this locked-up state, too much of your chlorine is bound to cyanuric acid and unable to effectively sanitize, leaving your pool vulnerable to all kinds of contaminants, including bacteria, viruses, and algae. What's more, the only way to fix this problem is to partially drain and refill your pool, which can be both expensive and time-consuming. So what's the problem with unstabilized chlorine? Well, as before, if your pool gets any sunlight throughout the day, you will need to stabilize your chlorine. That's non-negotiable. And that effectively means unstabilized chlorine only makes sense for pools that aren't exposed to natural light. If that applies to you, using unstabilized chlorine sources like calcium hypochlorite or liquid chlorine is the easy answer. You can close this video and go about your day. But for the majority of residential pools, natural light is a given, and using unstabilized chlorine just isn't going to work, at least not by itself. So which one should you use? On one hand, using stabilized chlorine protects and preserves your sanitizer level while slowly crippling it over time. On the other hand, using unstabilized chlorine will cause your chlorine to break down too quickly when exposed to sunlight. Fortunately, there is a middle ground, and it's what we recommend to most pool owners. The trick is to use unstabilized chlorine, like liquid chlorine, and add your cyanuric acid separately. This works extremely well because unstabilized chlorine allows you to top up without accumulating too much stabilizer, and adding cyanuric acid separately allows you to use it only as needed to maintain a suitable cyanuric acid level. Yes, It requires a little more work to manage, but it saves you a lot more work in the long run because you won't have to deal with stabilizer-related sanitizer issues later on. So, there you have it, a complete breakdown of stabilized versus unstabilized chlorine and which one you should use in your pool. Check the description below for links to our full companion article, along with supporting articles for many of the points discussed in the video. We also have a free downloadable and printable checklist to help with your pool maintenance schedule. You can get it for free at poolonomics.com/checklist. That's all from us. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for all things pool care.